Today, Elon Musk oversees a trillion-dollar automotive enterprise and actively runs an aerospace program aimed at putting humans on Mars. Trace that trajectory back to 1995, and the picture changes. At 24, he was living in Silicon Valley with just $2,000 in his bank account, sleeping under a desk in a rented office, and showering at the local YMCA. He arrived looking for a standard career in software. He sent his resume to Netscape, the dominant internet company at the time, and received absolutely no response. Shut out of the traditional corporate hierarchy, he relied on a specific method of problem-solving called first principles thinking. Instead of reasoning by analogy, which means doing things the way they've always been done, first principles requires discarding assumptions, breaking a problem down to its most basic, undeniable facts, and building up from there. This mental model provided a way to navigate when the traditional industry closed its doors. He began applying this framework to the burgeoning internet, building from the ground up where the established path had failed. Following the rejection from Netscape, he enrolled in a material science PhD program at Stanford, only to drop out 2 days later to launch his own web directory startup, Zip2. Because he couldn't afford a web server, he wrote the code himself. To get the site online, he drilled a hole through the floor of his office and ran a LAN cable directly to the internet service provider located in the suite below. He bypassed the standard markers of a legitimate business, prestigious offices, and expensive server racks, to focus on the basic functional need, putting business directories on the internet. 4 years later, Compaq bought Zip2, earning him $22 million, but he walked away frustrated. He had lost operational control over the company to outside investors and executives. That loss of control forged a sharp, high-risk mentality. He realized that managing digital information was a preliminary testing ground, and that executing a larger physical strategy would require absolute operational dominance. Armed with his early tech capital, he turned his attention to heavy manufacturing. The established automotive industry was busy iterating on legacy designs, slowly tweaking internal combustion engines and producing hybrid compromises. This document outlines what he called his master plan. It was a sequential financial playbook designed to break into the electric vehicle market from scratch. Step 1 was building a high-margin, low-volume sports car. The goal was to generate the massive initial capital required to actually function as an automaker. He then directed that capital into engineering a medium-priced vehicle, which in turn funded the development of a fully affordable mass-market car. To strip the industry down to its core function, he completely removed the traditional dealership network. Buyers customize and purchase their vehicles online, creating a direct line from the factory to the consumer. The execution of the master plan demonstrates a distinct strategic rule. You can fund low-margin global operations if you sequence them behind high-margin stepping stones. He then escalated this framework to raw materials, targeting humanity's ability for multiplanetary survival. His initial attempt to enter the space race involved traveling to Russia to purchase an existing intercontinental ballistic missile. He was quoted $65 million for a single rocket. The global aerospace industry had become stagnant, operating within a deeply inefficient and expensive structure. He applied first principles thinking to the physics of the problem, asking a basic question: what elemental raw materials actually make up a rocket? The answer is aerospace-grade aluminum alloys, titanium, and copper. This chart visualizes his next calculation. He checked the value of those specific elements on the commodity market and found that the actual material cost of a rocket was only 2% of the standard aerospace price. Instead of paying that premium, he bypassed the established aerospace industry, purchased the raw materials at market value, and established SpaceX to build the rockets himself. SpaceX demonstrates the practical power of this approach. By focusing entirely on the cost of raw atoms, the company bypassed the traditional financial gatekeepers of the aerospace industry. Musk's diverse portfolio of companies, Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and the Boring Company, forms a single interconnected ecosystem. Each entity exists to address a specific global threat, from climate change to AI safety to planetary extinction. They execute this by prioritizing decade-long engineering visions over quarterly profit cycles. Standard business practice relies on continuous improvement, making slightly better versions of existing products. That approach keeps a company within the boundary of its original vision. True invention requires the work of abandoning those boundaries. To solve problems at scale, you have to stop living by analogy, detach your loyalty from the physical form of an industry, and brutally optimize for its pure function.